You ever hear a story that's both inspiring and infuriating all at the same time? Yeah, that's Bishop Samuel Ajayi Crowther, the first African Anglican bishop, a man who turned trauma into triumph, built schools, translated the Bible, and proved that Africans could lead the church, until the same church that he built decided that he was too black to keep leading it. Crowther was born in 1809 in what's now Osagun, Nigeria. And when he was a child, his village was raided by slave traders. He and his family were captured and shipped off toward the coast. But before the ship reached its destination, a British anti-slavery patrol intercepted it. They freed him, but instead of sending him home, they took him to Sierra Leone, one of Britain's resettlement colonies for liberated Africans. And that's where his second life began. He converted to Christianity, took the name Samuel Crowther, and quickly became one of the brightest students in the mission schools. He learned English, Latin, Greek, all while remembering what it meant to lose everything to the empire that's now calling itself his savior. He wound up joining the Christian Missionary Society and dedicated his life to education and translation. He helped translate the Bible into Yoruba, built schools, trained teachers, and led missions across Nigeria and Sierra Leone. By 1864, he made history as the first African Anglican bishop, and for a while it looked like he had changed the game. But here's where it gets complicated. Yes, Crowther preached a version of Christianity that came from Europe, the one that painted Jesus as white and wrapped salvation in empire, because that was the only version that the British allowed. But he used that same system to plant seeds of freedom inside of it, translating the Bible into Yoruba, teaching in African languages, and training black clergy to lead on their own. So yeah, he preached the colonial Jesus, but he also reclaimed the message beneath it. He made space for a faith that saw Africans as human, not as heathens. But you know how it goes. The higher he rose, the more racism showed. European missionaries began saying that African churches weren't disciplined enough, that Crowther's clergy were unfit to lead. Never mind that he built the foundation that they were standing on. By the 1880s, the same church that ordained him began stripping his power, replacing African clergy with white ones and calling it reorganization. He was heartbroken. Crowther once said that the African is capable of receiving Christianity in its purest form. But to the British, that purity only counted if it came from a white man's pulpit. In 1891, Crowther died, tired, betrayed, watching his life's work unravel under the weight of racism. He was more than a bishop, right? He was a linguist, a translator, an educator. He built the blueprint for the African church movements that came after, the ones that threw out the colonial Jesus entirely and made the faith truly African. Crowther's story hurts because it's the oldest story that we know. The moment a black man builds something for his people, the system will always find a way to take it back. A man who proved that we never needed permission to see God in our own image. Say his name, Samuel Crowther.